One of the more notorious events to ever happen at the National Western Stock Show came in 1972 at the Junior Steer Show. That was the year that McDonald's restaurants invented the Big Mac sandwich, which had 2 beef patties, cheese slathered together with a secret sauce. And they, in the standards of 1972, mounted a huge national advertising campaign for the Big Mac, and so the Big Mac was famous. At the Junior Steer Show at the National Western, lo and behold, they run the steers out, and there comes a huge black steer from Iowa who just swept the show. In those days, the judges just lined up the steers from the tallest to the shortest and slapped the tallest one. So Big Mac was selected as the grand champion steer of the National Western Junior Show. And as obviously the owners had intended, the junior auction, the Association of Denver McDonald's restaurant franchisees paid a record price for Big Mac and bought him. Even before the sale, but certainly immediately afterwards, a young boy and his dad from the western slope of Colorado came to National Western officials and said that steer is a fraud. And we raised him, and he's a Charolais, which of course is a white steer. And so the testimony of the young boy was quite colorful. He was about 11, as I remember. And he said, when I got into the barn, I walked up to the steer, and he nuzzled his head around me like he always did and blew snot on my arm. And I immediately knew that was my steer, Jeep. And so the National Western officials put the whole sale and championship on hold while they did an investigation which sprung on clear through the entire spring of 1972. And so he was placed by the Colorado brand inspectors who were in the top floor of this building in a pen right here adjoining the building while they sorted out all the details about Big Mac. Our family livestock newspaper, the Record Stockman, was headquartered in these 2 windows right here. And we came and went every day, and so every week we came out and took a picture of Big Mac in the pen and ran it on the front page of the paper. And just as the young boy said, every week as Big Mac's roots came out, he got wider and wider and wider. When they got to digging in on the steer, he had been dyed with black shoe dye. And it was estimated it could have taken several cases of black shoe dye to ever thoroughly blacken a all-white 1,000-pound steer. And they, of course, had to blacken up in his nose and his hoofs and all the stuff. And when they had the official hearing conducted by the state brand inspector and the general manager of the National Western Stock Show, the owners of the steer did admit that all Angus cattle have a white hair here and there, so we did touch up those white hairs. Well, of course, they touched up a great deal more white hairs than just an occasional one here or there to ever come to what they actually had. As the time went on, ultimately, Big Mac became purely white, and his championship was vacated and the money was returned to the McDonald's restaurant franchisees in Denver. But again, as far as a famous ending to the National Western, that's easily the most famous, was in 1972, 42 years ago.